I want to begin by, again, welcoming the members of this committee and thanking the various witnesses that have traveled great distances to participate in today's hearing, and most importantly, the public for your interest in this important policy discussion. I am honored to be holding an information hearing which with such a broad spectrum of leaders today present in this room: tribal leaders, card club, horse racing industry, representatives, regulators, operators, and stakeholders. Today's informational hearing is meant to do one thing: to help members of this committee, the legislature, and the public better educate themselves on the issue of interstate internet poker. Anna Sansbury, Chief Executive Officer for GeoComply.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you to the committee members for having me here.
And I'm not a male chauvinist. I owe you too a cup of coffee.
I appreciate that. It's been an exciting day for all of us, I think. So I'm going to keep this as brief as possible, but I know geolocation is a big issue. We support 10 out of the 11 brands that are currently live in New Jersey, so we have a pretty good understanding of what is happening. We're processing 5 million transactions every month.
Wow.
So as you can see here, this map represents real-time geolocations that are occurring in the state of New Jersey. This is actually an analytics tool that we provided.
Are these active right now?
These are active right now. And all of those white dots, those are fellow iOS users.
They're what?
Those are fellow iOS users.
Oh, yeah.
So
those are Nastandi's friends.
The green dots represent people coming in on Android devices. Wow. The blue are PC and Mac on both Download Poker and then Instant Play Casino. The red dots that come up, very, very rarely, you'll notice, those are users that didn't make it through the geolocation requirements.
So let's talk about why they didn't make it.
Let's talk about that. So essentially, GeoComply started, I've worked in the interactive gaming space for 9 years. My background is in compliance, so I used to be the commercial director for a company that GLI acquired several years ago. So when we set up GeoComply, we essentially knew that compliance wasn't just looking at the geolocation data. Chris Derasi kind of stated this earlier, where he said we have to look at all sources of location data, but we have to look at the technologies that are there that allow you to spoof that. So IP, we have proxies, we have VPNs, we have remote desktop software, and these are all the sort of obstacles and hurdles that players had to overcome when the New Jersey market went live. So these red dots here probably represent someone that either didn't have a Wi-Fi connection or could be running a remote desktop software. Those are the most frequent reasons why we would actually fail a user that is within the state of New Jersey. So with most of our operators at launch, we had about 10% failing rates, and within the last week or so, most of our operators are at 1.5%. So you can't really look at geolocation as being much of a hurdle, especially when you look at a Download Poker software, so which could be supported on an Android, iOS, PC, or Mac device. Let me just zoom in. So we had, I'm sure you guys are familiar with some aspects of what had occurred in past markets. New Jersey, like California, is a highly densely populated state. We had over 1 million people that we knew wanted to access these sites that were going to be living right on the border, especially in areas like New York and Hoboken or New Jersey City that you see here. So we had to deploy pinpoint accurate location solutions, essentially taking out that buffer zone that you heard was used in states like Nevada, and deploying software that was going to make sure that those people could get on the state as well to make the whole solution viable. So we've sort of put that together. We work closely with the DGE or any other regulator to make sure that our system is as fluid as possible, so that as technologies change, as the browsers update, we can modify our technology and make sure that it's always getting as many people online and keeping those fraudulent players out.
Yes, Mr. Nastandi.
How long does it take to verify?
Anywhere from 1 to 3 seconds, typically.
Wow.
If we use carrier, it can take a little longer. So I know before you actually asked with using carrier data as a way of reverse locating a user through the 911 service, that can take up to 60 seconds. So that's using a technology which is assisted GPS. And it actually only 60% of mobile devices support it.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions from members? What are some of the key roadblocks for access amongst eligible players in the state?
So the most common would be that they're not around any Wi-Fi or there's no location data. So if they're on a mobile device, we typically look for Wi-Fi data, GSM data, so the cell carriers that are around the device, or Wi-Fi. Now, if a user's in a really remote area, it's quite hard for us to locate them. If you saw someone in this area that was being blocked, which you don't frequently see, it would probably be because they're running software such as a VPN. Maybe they're accessing a proxy. Some users still try and use that to get around illegal sites. Or they might be running a remote desktop solution.
So if you have, can more than one person in a house sign up?
Yeah, so we actually don't take player data. The operators give us a unique player number or session ID, and then we just give them the transaction ID. They tag it to the player session. So we don't actually know the player's name or residential address. It's all unique to us. I can actually answer a question that came up earlier where you asked if you could block out certain businesses, streets. Our system was designed so that you could block out government buildings, schools, and for us it's really a click of a button.
School.
Just in case you don't want your colleagues playing, it's easily possible through our back office.
That's fantastic.